Good morning and Jai Sadhguru all. Welcome to yet another awaited session of our Sunday weekly satsang. I'm Dipti and have joined this satsang from Glenrock, New Jersey. In the current times, our day-to-day life always goes busy in fulfilling our physical and mental requirements and social responsibilities. In the fast-paced routine life, the requirements of the soul are often forgotten. So first of all, I congratulate each one of you on board for taking some time from your busy schedule and meeting on this virtual satsang to fulfill the requirements of our soul. Let's move forward to our next section, which is Swarved Wisdom. And this section has been started for past few months. And today's speaker is Dr. Subhash Chandraji, who is a psychiatrist practicing in New York City. Also, he lives in New York, I believe. And Subhash ji has been associated with Vihangam Yoga since his childhood days, and he has been doing Seva Sadhana Satsang, continuously from his childhood days. What I believe, and he is a prominent personality in North America Institute of Vihangam Yoga. And for past few months, I would say even I have been associated with Vihangam Yoga for past 3 years, and he has been showering his knowledge on us, every now and then. And today we are really fortunate he is here with us again. Over to you, Subhashji.
Jai Sadhgurudev to all. And thank you, Diptiji. Thank you, Navy, for organizing these sessions without any break. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share words of wisdom of Sarveda and in English version, English translation. So today's couplet from second mandal, second chapter, 14th couplet. दो प्रकार प्रभु प्रार्थना प्राकृत अरु अध्यात्म प्राकृत बाह्य परोक्ष है अपरोक्ष ध्यान. A simple translation would be there are two types of prayers. दो प्रकार प्रभु प्रार्थना prakrit aru adhyatma. One at the level of this prakriti and adhyatma. The second one is at the conscious level. Prakrit by paroksha hai. The prayer that we do at the level of prakriti is apparent to us, we witness it. Aparoksha adhyatma. The prayer at the level of consciousness cannot be seen through this naked eyes. It's hidden and it needs to be practiced, and only a Vihangam yogi can practice it. Once again, why are we discussing this? What is the importance of knowing these differences? As we have grown up, we all have, based on our cultural background, we all do some or the other kind of prayers. Burning some incense sticks after showering, chanting some mantra, standing in front of the pictures of gods and goddesses. And most of us who were not lucky, who were not blessed, continued that prayer their whole life, believing that that is the prayer they were meant to do their entire life. And so understanding the difference between different kind of prayers is the only way at the level of the knowledge level. Once we learn that distinction, our motivation, commitment, passion towards the real prayer is profound. So once again, the importance is of knowing the difference and what are the two kinds. So the prayer that is done at the level of Prakriti, it is at the level of mind, body, and speech. Most of the time, if you look at those prayers or that prayer, why someone does it? Even we as first stage practitioner of Vihangam Yoga, when we chant Gayatri Mantra, what do? We pray. We pray to the Almighty that, oh God, you are the soul. You are the soul of the souls, and you bestow upon us the happiness and take away all the pain and trouble. You are the divine light. We pray unto you to take our soul on the righteous path and turn it constantly and turn its constantly outward flowing energy inward. If you look at the first part of the prayer, we are asking for happiness. We are asking that Almighty to take away all the pain and travel and the trouble. Most importantly, why do we do that kind of prayer? We need to think about it. We are asking that Almighty to make our needs met. We all have our own level of suffering, some sadness, some crisis in our life. So then, since we experience all these suffering and crises at the level of our mind and body, so we pray at the level of our mind and body with our speech that Almighty, please help us get rid of all the sufferings. You are the Savior, Almighty. You are the one who can help us get rid of all the sorrows of this human life. And now, is this important? Do we need to do this prayer at the level of mind and body, the physical prayer, the prayer at the level of Prakriti? It is important. It has its own value and importance. Until and unless you are the blessed soul, or you are that Shishya, Uttam Shishya, Shishya of the finest category, the disciple of the finest category, that prayer has its importance. Asking the Almighty for your well-being, well-being of your family, get the day-to-day things, needs met. One way to look at it would be, if your daily needs are not met, your mind will not allow you to sit down in meditation. If you are suffering from bodily pain, the pain will pull all your energy towards it, and it will be difficult for you to focus at one place. In Surveda, Sadhguru says, बल छाया प्रभु से मिले, पूर्ण काम सब होए, प्रारंभ प्रभु से करे, गति आध्यात्मिक होए. बल छाया प्रभु से मिले. Prabhu means Almighty. Bal, you can say the energy, power, a strength, abilities. Purna kam sab hoye, which means all our pending work, day-to-day task, waiting for the promotion, waiting for your science research to get completed. All those things in the world that are pulling you and keeping you involved in this world, those needs to be completed. And for that, you are praying to that Almighty. But once again, that prayer is at the level of mind, body, breath. But there is also the prayer which is beyond these. So by the different stages of Vihangam Yoga meditation, coming to a stage where you dissolve your mind, man va prana, dissolve your mind and your breath. It is at that level, once that is lost, at that level begins your Adhyatmic prayer, the prayer at the level of your soul. As we know that in our day-to-day life, our energy is being dissipated. The surati, the 7 suratis of the soul, is in constant contact with this environment with the help of body, mind, and sense organs. So until and unless we get rid of those worldly attachments, with the blessings of Sadhguru Dev and by practicing the first, second, third stage of the meditation. And when you come at the Chetan stage, at the level of the Akshar Brahma, only then the meditation begins. Only then the prayer, the Adhyatmic prayer begins. As Sadhguru Sadhapal Dev Ji says in Swarveda, Sachidanand Swarup hai, mam aradhya Bhagavan, बार बार वंदन करूं युक्ति भेद रत ज्ञान. Yukti bhed rat gyan. So yukti is the technique, gyan, knowledge. It is a Vedic gyan, means a gyan, a knowledge that you cannot get from books. So this technique and knowledge that has been bestowed upon you, imparted to you as a deserving disciple by the Sadguru, then with that gyan yukti, with that knowledge technique, then you are able to pray on the Almighty. So the second line, bar bar vandan karun yukti bhed rat gyan. So before the vandana, the prayer was not by the technique that was Adhyatmic technique. But now the meditation, the prayer is at the level of your soul. And that prayer at the level of the soul has only happened with the Guru technique. And that is when we say in this couplet, Sachidananda Swarup hai. You get to see that Swarup, that you get to witness that form of the Almighty, which is a continuous bliss, Sachidanand. And that continuous bliss happens when you have the ability to pray at that adhyatmic level. And that is what Sadhguru Dev emphasizes in the couplet, Sachidananda Swarup hai. That roop, that quality of the Almighty is of Sachidanand, someone who gives eternal pleasure. Mam Aradhya Bhagwan, oh my God, Mam Aradhya Bhagwan, and I pray upon you by the technique, and that technique is the science of consciousness, which begins after the third stage. Now, to be able to meditate at that level, to be able to pray at the level of your soul, at the level of Akshar Brahm, Swamiji has also discussed four kind of devotees. So the first devotee is known as Arth. So Arth Bhakt or Arth devotee is the disciple of the Guru who prays to get rid of the human sufferings. He prays to the Sadgurudev that all his human sufferings should go away, just like any other human being. And as we just now read the meaning of Gayatri Mantra, that we all pray that, oh Almighty, you are the one who take care of our suffering and give us the happiness. And why that Almighty will be able to give you that happiness? Because that Almighty is beyond the sufferings. And why he is beyond the sufferings? Because he does not have to do any karma, just like human beings. We as human beings, we do the karma, and every karma has its outcome, good or bad, which gets attached to us, leading to suffering. But that Almighty is not in the business of karma. He does not have to attain this human body and do the karma which would lead to sukh and dukh, happiness, sorrow, good and bad. So that Almighty is beyond these worldly activities, where there is no suffering of any kind. That is the reason why the bhakt, the devotee who is known as Arth devotee, he always prays at the level of Prakriti that, oh Almighty, help me to get rid of all these sufferings. So he is also doing a prayer, but he has been categorized as a different kind of devotee whose prayer is limited to seeking being devoid of all the human sufferings. Now, to understand and to be able to do meditation at adhyatmic level, to pray at that adhyatmic level and at akshar level, it's very important to understand different kind of devotees. So before coming to the next question, back to you, Diptiji. Before the next couplet, back to you, Diptiji.
Thank you, Subhashi. Thank you for explaining this doha. And now I would like to invite our audience, if they have any question on this particular doha, please come forward and ask our speaker about this, about any questions if you have. Okay, then Subhashi, we can move forward for the next doha. I think nobody has any question, so we can move forward. So let me just scroll down.
So the next couplet, केशरिया धारण करे वीर विलक्षण रूप वितरागी अभ्यास में त्यों जग अद्भुत रूप. So at that time when Swarved was being written by our Sadguru, it was the time of freedom for the country, and a lot of patriots, and even our Guru has fought in that freedom, for the freedom of the country. So in Swarveda, there has been many such references of warrior and the fight that one has to do in the freedom of the country. And here, for the freedom of the soul, you are acting as a warrior. So Kesharya Dharan Kare. So here the reference in this couplet is very beautiful, that what a disciple should be. What should be the traits of a disciple? So the same way, to win a war, the warrior does not care for his or her life. Once they have won their dress, here it's the color Kesharia, the saffron color, that we normally see is being worn by the monk and those people you will see who have renounced most of the worldly belongings. So Kesharya Dharan Kare Veer Vilakshan Roop. So the reference is that just like the patriots, when they fight for the country in their own uniform, they do not care for their life. In the same manner, once a yogi wears that dress, he is now a warrior in this fight of the life. And what he has to fight with? He has to fight with the worldly attraction, lust, desires. Only when he gets devoid of all these Kam, Krodh, Madh, Lobh, Moh, Matsar, all these human traits that make him suffer or her suffer. After getting devoid of all these traits, so the fourth part of this couplet, Tyon jag adbhut roop. Vitragi abhyas mein tyon jag adbhut roop. So Vitragi, who is a Vitragi? One who has given up all the things that lure them, attracts them, they found themselves attracted to, attached to. And that is abhyas, that is a practice. So with the practice of giving up the worldly attachments and wearing that attire where you don't need anything other than one or two sets of clothes. And that is the person who moves forward in the path of Adhyatma. But see, it is easier said than done. It is so easy to talk about wearing a certain attire and going on in this path. I will share a story. There was a monk, and a monk who came to the village. He had two sets of this kesaria cloth and nothing else. When he came to this village, the village people started liking that monk. They made a hut for the monk to live in. Monk would every evening would go to their houses and they would offer him food or the basic necessities for survival, and he would come back and would sit down in his deep meditation. One day he found there are rats who have started roaming around in his hut. He got concerned that he has only two sets of this kesaria or saffron colored attire. And if the rat chews, bites, tears one of those, then he would be left with only one. So he went back to the villagers to ask them for the solution. So the villagers said that why don't we give you a cat? That cat will keep the rats away and that solves the problem. The monk was happy, came back with the cat. The problem was solved. But he needed to feed the cat. Now, where would he get the milk? So now his visit to the village every day had increased in frequency. He would have to go more often. Now he had to go door to door, both to meet his bodily needs and the need for his cat. So the villagers suggested him that it's a lot to deal with. Why don't we give you a cow? And the cow will produce enough milk for you and the cat. So this way your problem will be solved. He brought the cow to the hut. They cleaned an area outside the hut where the cow was tied. And but the cow needs to be fed. So where will he get the grass? He was in that area of where there was no grass. So he went back to the village again. So what to do for the grass now? So they said, we have a widow in our village who has no kids, no commitment, suddenly widowed. So she will feel blessed to take care of you and take care of your hut premises, and will also get grasses from wherever necessary to feed the cow and take care of the cat. He agreed. Now this widow woman came to his hut, and since he was a monk, he should not have any attachment. So they started living in the same hut. This widow was beautiful and the monk was young. Gradually, the monk fell in love with the widow. He didn't realize that until she got pregnant. Now, when she got pregnant, then he realized, what have I done? I came living my family. I came leaving my wife and kids, all the belongings I had, everything I had left to become a monk. And here I am back with a family, with a kid, and a partner. So then he realized that even if, according to him, he had undergone vairagya, he had renounced the worldly pleasures, but it is not that easy. It's easier to say that I will be a soldier, I will go and fight. But fighting with the essence that your life does not matter is different from being willing to go and fight in a war. In the similar manner, this monk who had renounced everything, and look how Maya or the physical needs, his need began with just 2 clothes versus 1. That if the rats or the mice chew on my cloth, what will happen? And just from one basic need, he ended up having and being in the same worldly conundrum all over again. So even if he had worn that Kesariya dress, Kesariya Dharan Kare, he was also Veer Vilakshan Roop. He renounced everything, moved forward. But Vitragi Abhyas mein Tyon Jag Adbhut Roop. Even if he renounced, renunciation is at multiple levels. And to come to that level of a warrior, where you don't care for your life, where you don't care for whether you will have one dress or the other, that is the time you are ready and prepared to move on the part, on the stage of science of consciousness, where nothing matters and you have given up on all worldly desires. And then you are ready as a warrior to fight your own demons and move forward in this path of science of consciousness. Move forward in the prayer that is done at the Adhyatmic level. The prayer before which you have controlled your mind, your speech, your bodily needs. Once all those things you have controlled, then you come to Sadhguru's shelter. You please him through your services and devotion. And then there begins the yoga practice, the secret internal process of Brahma Vidya. So as a warrior, you have to develop those qualities of the warrior. You should have knowledge, reclusion, restraint over your sense organs, tolerance. Remember, only deserving aspirants acquire the sublime status of Brahma Vidya, not all and sundry. Until and unless you have that sincere and unflinching love in Sadhguru's holy feet, that love and devotion, if it is missing, the fine door inside the Susmana, the last one which is closed, will not open. And if that does not open, your Adhyatmic prayer will not begin. So remember, only when the conscious energy of your soul goes beyond Prakriti, passing through the conscious zone of Akshar, only then it reaches that of supreme Akshar and acquires divine bliss and nectar. So one of the unique characteristics of that warrior is utmost devotion in Sadhguru's holy feet in that special zone. Once you are capable of doing that, the aperture inside Susmana opens And the Kundalini, the serpentine power, withdraws its hood from the said door. And only then, you as disciple of Sadguru will be reaching beyond Prakriti. So there are so many traits. There are so many literatures where what are the traits of the warrior who is a Sadguru Shishya, a disciple of Sadguru, what traits one should have. One need to know that, understand that, appreciate and acquire it to move forward in the path of Vihangam Yoga practice and to ascend in a manner that they are able to pray not only at the level of Prakriti, but beyond that, at the level of consciousness. So with that, back to you, Diptiji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Subhashji, for beautifully explaining this Doha. Thanks a lot again. And again, I would like to invite our audience, if they have any question related to this particular Doha, please come forward and ask.
Jai Sadgurudev, Dipti ji. I have a question for Subhashji. So Subhashji, you have explained, although end to end, overall, I understand the Doha and the explanation, but just one question I had when you were discussing, when you illustrated that example of the monk, beautifully explained. As we all know, we understand in this journey how important it is to be inwards and really pray at the level of soul to attain the ultimate goal that we all are seeking in a way or the other way. So when you mention a few times in satsangs that it is that ultimate state, ultimate level of devotion for Sadguru Dev, and detaching ourselves from the worldly subjects. I just feel that is a state that one reaches, after ardent practice and maybe years or maybe lives, when that state is reached, because we are not there yet, right? We are still just trying in this process. I often feel that we do have love for various subjects. For example, our work, it could be our job, or it could be our kids, or it could be our health, our family, etc., etc. So one basic question I always have, which is, what is the difference between the love? We talk about how important it is to have love in our life, right? For different things, it could be just like I mentioned, and then there is attraction, and sometimes it could be confusing to understand what exactly it is, right? But since we are on this path, we are still struggling, and we want to reach that ultimate state where we have no attraction or attachment to the worldly subjects. But is it really possible? Because I mean, I hope I'm able to portray it properly, because we do have love for different subjects, and to reach that ultimate state where we are not attached, how it is like, how can you justify that? Like living in this life, with attachment to different subjects, and not getting attached, but I think we can deny the fact that we do have love for subjects, and that is the the base or the foundation of living a fulfilled life. How can we be like completely detached and not in love with the subjects, but attain that state? Although we are all trying to achieve that, but at the same time, how can we justify that? Is just that's my question basically. So if you can shed some light on that.
Jai Sadgurudev Monica ji, and thank you for a question which comes in, I would say, in everyone's mind. But to be able to bring it forward and share it, it helps all of us to look deeper. And what comes to my mind is self-realization. And there are so many stories. To give you some example, by mistake, the egg of a the bird koyal, I don't know what is English of koyal. So the word which has a melodious voice, cuckoo, koyal, lays egg in the nest of crows, where the eggs of a crow is lying down. That baby, when he grows up, when the baby cuckoo hatches out of the egg, it learns only one thing, is to do caw caw like the crows. He doesn't even know that he has the potential to sing like a cuckoo. He's not even aware because of the surroundings. So someday, when either by instinct or by community or by what we call as like dissolves like. So if it would only be the instinct or seeing another bird singing, and he tries to sing someday, then only he realizes that he is not like what other crows look like. He does not belong here. So here comes the concept of self-realization. Knowing that I am not this body, knowing that this world, as Swamiji says that hum sharir nahi, hum shariri hain. We are not the body, we are the soul. This body is just a house. So right now, we have identified ourselves with the house, that we are the house. So the entire attachment is with the house, how to make it beautiful, decorate it, buy insurance for it, so that if any damage happens, I can replenish it. The kids that we have, we get attached because of the knowledge that they are our genetic material. But if someone told you or gave you this information that no, they are separate soul. They have come to this earth as a separate soul. You just became a medium. It's nothing like your kids or someone else's kids. So that mere knowledge that we are all here together by coincidence, riding on the same boat. This boat, when it comes to the river bank, we all will go in separate ways. Think of that attachment. How much attachment you have to a pathik on the boat. So to a traveler who is traveling with you in the same bus, how much attachment you develop. You talk to them, you laugh with them. Maybe if you may share some food, but once the journey ends, every traveler goes on its own path. Same is the relationship of one soul to the other. Even if the problem is not even if the problem is we don't know that my kid, my father, my uncle, all these are the conundrums we have created as a society. But every individual is a soul who has come to this world on their own accord, based on their sanchit karma, whatever brought them back. And they are also going through that cycle of birth and rebirth and birth and rebirth. So your son or daughter is going through the same cycle that you are going through. It's just that in the current schema, it feels like they are your son and daughter. But if we talk about a dhyatmic schema, a bigger concept or a bigger schema, they may be much elder than you. In a different life, they were something different and you were different, but it is just an association that they came and they have a biological material that is derived from you, which has led to attachment. So here comes the importance of realization. And realization has one component, that is Gyan, that we are sharing with each other today, that we are getting from Swarveda. That Gyan is equally important. Gyan or knowledge is a very important component of a disciple. He will do everything, but that knowledge will keep him afloat. That knowledge will give him the idea of what he has originated from and where he has to go. Simple things like I prescribe a medication to a patient. I don't know when that medication goes inside the belly, it gets metabolized, it distributes to different part of the body. How does it even affect the brain? If I ask you to think about it, you will have no answer. How can a tiny molecule go to a different part of the brain, affect it in a manner that the person's anxiety, depression, etc. goes away? I trust it because of the knowledge that I have developed over many years, reading many books, and then seeing it in practice over multiple patients, which made me believe to my every molecule that yes, this is the way it happens. But have I entered in anyone's brain to visualize the exact molecule? No. So first and foremost is the knowledge. That knowledge, as I said, we are sharing with each other. And under Sadhguru's blessings, as Nevi embarked upon the journey of Swarved Wisdom, that is further enriching our knowledge of self-realization. So Gyan is the first component. With knowledge, once you understand that you are not this hand or feet or eyes or this beautiful skin, so-called, then that knowledge, first of all, burns all the illusions. Then instead of seeing the person by their color, their dressing, their look, their profession, you see them as a soul. So when that knowledge is beyond just knowledge, you have absorbed it in yourself to the extent that your ignorance that a person is beyond all these worldly traits that we see. And then you understand that, okay, so if I am a soul, what is the next step? So it's not about the attachment, it's about living with everything. And once you have gained the knowledge, how do you do your worldly activities, not forgetting your goal? And the goal is self-realization and God realization. So the pathway is from the knowledge, we are here, and then comes with the knowledge, you get detachment. And as you get detached, you tend to get more and more knowledge. That knowledge potentiates your bhakti, your devotion. As it is said, Bhakti ka marg jhina re, charanana lavalina re. Bhakti ka marg jhina re. The path of devotion is very fine. One have to shed all the traits that they have on this worldly atmosphere. Only then they move forward. That bhakti will make you realize, for example, Raja Janak, the King Janak from Ramayana, he was living in this world. He was having a wife, a daughter, Sita, and everything. But he had the realization, the self-realization and God realization. So even if he was doing his worldly duties, that knowledge, awareness, and then devotion and commitment towards finding self and finding God made him always attuned 24 hours a day. His surati was constantly in that direction at that place where he has come from. I hope I answered it to some extent. Back to you, Diptiji.
Monica ji, I believe you got your answer.
Yes, yes, Dipti ji, I did. Thank you, Subhash ji.
Thank you, Subhash ji, for the beautiful explanation. And again, I would like to invite our audience if they have any question related to this Doha.
Thank you very much, Subhash ji. I had just one question. The knowledge, definitely it required, just you explained ki knowledge is where it begins, which we attend from the satsang. But how does the progression with the knowledge and the implementation in one's life correlate with the uprising of the energy through the sushumna, which is surati? If you can draw some parallelism there, what is the relationship? How does that work together? Thank you.
Jai Sadgurudev Niranjanji. So, if I understand you correctly, that how this knowledge helps us go towards the path of spirituality, moving upward and crossing the different stages.
Yes, Subhash ji. Like, you mentioned about the sushumna, and the self-realization happens when your surati rises into the Akshar Brahm. But once you are in Akshar Brahm, and then the actual meditation starts. So I'm just trying to, I know that we have discussed about this in greater details, but I'm just trying to kind of revisit, that part of the discussion where there's one subtle aspect of the progression, which is the knowledge and the willingness to actually put that work in one's life, which was the question from Monica ji, that indiscriminate love is what is love, and not attachment to one's near and dear ones, right? So when that becomes part of somebody's living and life, then I'm thinking there's another subtle aspect of the physicality which also rises. So just trying to get some correlation. Is that something which happens, or it only happens through sadhana, or it can happen through part of implementation?
Yeah. Do my best. So again, I will share a story, and I hope it will answer this question. So, coming across the pain and suffering of day-to-day life can be at any level. Even a child who is 4 years old can be suffering. The kids going to the school can be suffering. One of the very basic trait of human being is seeking pleasure. Knowingly, unknowingly, this is inherent. So now this was the kid who got into the career, and he was enjoying the career. But every time there was some or the other issue at his work. And he realized that I have achieved a lot. My entire life until this age of 30, 35 years I have spent in building this career. And why every day is in doubt and crisis? Is this what the life meant to be? So that made him dig deeper, question further what life means, who am I, what am I? Am I meant to just suffer like this or suffer like my parents who gave birth to us, took care of us, and then died? So here, the curiosity in most people, either it is inherent or it generates from their suffering. Now, with that curiosity, he started looking for, searching on internet and literature, and he came across Vihangam Yoga. He learned about Vihangam Yoga, got some idea, meditating as in just following the first stage of meditation. But something happened to his body which he had never experienced before. A vibration in his body in a manner that sometimes his entire body would move from one part of the room to the another part. That vibration was so profound at the level of the body and the mind that every time he did it, his mind stopped. There was no suffering in his mind. So he realized that with this practice, the first was curiosity, then was with the curiosity came hand in hand the desire to knowledge. With this knowledge came the practice. If I see there is a background sound, I don't know whose iPhone is still on mute. If I can request.
Audience, please try to mute yourself.
I see Sriram Sahuji is the only one on mute. So that could be the source of the sound. Okay, thank you. So he started experiencing the vibration in his body that was unexplained. He had no idea, no knowledge from where it is happening, why it is happening, but the pleasure that he was deriving out of it was beyond words, beyond what he had ever experienced. So mere knowledge is not enough. With knowledge, until and unless you have that meditation practice, you cannot ascend upward. So it's a combination of the knowledge and the practice. So with this practice, he started experiencing this vibration, and to experience it again and again, he would sit down in meditation at least twice, thrice, 4 times a day. And he felt the difference. But then was what next? I'm feeling the vibration. Then he started reading Swarved, and he found that yes, vibration is mentioned there. That built his trust. He realized that those vibrations are not imaginary, but it is already documented. Someone has already traversed that path, documented it. So whatever I'm experiencing is correct. So he started reading it more to understand what would come next. And every time he learned that nothing would come to him without the process of meditation. He had to follow the strict meditation protocol, only then he can move upward. He started practicing it, but in all that, he forgot the value of Guru. He forgot to seek the blessings of Sadguru Dev. So he discussed his dilemma with others who, according to him, were more revered, esteemed members. And then he learned that along with the knowledge and the meditation, if you have to move upward, your devotion to Sadguru is equally important. So once with the knowledge and meditation, he started realizing that nothing that he has is his. Tera tujhko arpan kya lage hai mera. So the moment he learned that none of this, his career, his house, his car, none of this is his, because he is not the one who is enjoying all of this. He has nothing to do with having a house, a car, and all those day-to-day worldly things. With this realization, once he had learned that only with the blessings of Sadguru, he can ascend further. So he devoted all of his worldly possessions to Sadguru. And then he moved forward just with the blessings of Sadguru Dev. So you will have to be a deserving soul. If not, your body has to be managed by you in a way by yam, niyam, dhyan. So those are the things that we must have, those qualities, those traits. Only a vessel which is capable of receiving water, only that vessel will retain water. But just throwing water on upside down vessels will not have any retention. So to answer what you brought up is that the knowledge, the practice, the constant curiosity, and the utmost devotion, which will help you with the awareness that you are a soul. And that will help you move upward in that direction to further self-realization and God realization. And in the pathway comes your Susman Prabha and Kundalini Jagran and so on and so forth. Back to you, Diptiji and Niranjan.
Thank you very much, Subhashji. Thank you.
Thank you, Niranjanji, for this beautiful question, and thank you, Subhashji, for answering this. If nobody has any questions, Subhashji, I think I have only one question, and already it is 11:45. So maybe you can take my question, and then we'll end the satsang with our prayers. So my question is that related to this Doha. Here we are seeing two strong characters in this Doha. One, like I'm just being I'm talking in a layman term. I'm not being very particular describing in the entire Doha. So here we are seeing two characters, two strong characters. One is a warrior, and the second one is the yogi, a kind of yogi. And when we enter to Bhyangam Yoga, and when we get into our initiation process, level 1, level 2, or whatever level we are into right now, what I see in my personal experience, always Sadhguru Dev puts us into a place where we fight with our sanskaras to get better and to get rid of those, those 6 negative traits like kam, krodh, mad, maschar, moh, those kind of stuff. So my question is that since we struggle those kind of traits, and when we struggle those kind of traits, let me just frame it properly. Yeah, so when we struggle those kind of traits, so and we know that we are not being very very clean in terms of, in that process, we feel that we are not being very clean or very holy in that process, because our sanskaras are so tightly imbibed with in our chitta or in our sanskara, that when Sadhguru Dev puts us into a difficult exam, we fight with that situation. And though we know that this is wrong, but still our sanskaras are so deeply imbibed with our chitta that we really struggle in that case. So here is my question. Though we know that this is wrong, and we don't do that wrong thing, we do the right thing, because that is Sadhguru Dev's instruction for us. But that point, we think that though we didn't do anything with our words, with our actions, but still there is a slight wrong thinking or bad thinking that came inside our mind. And that shouldn't be the case, because as Sadhguru says, even when we think something in a wrong way, or not in the proper way, that very moment we create the karma. So in my case, I'm being very fearful these days whenever there is something coming into my mind, though I know that I'm not going to convert those into words or into action, or even in my mind my intention is clear, but I know that due to my past sanskaras or vrittis, I am getting this kind of thought process. And I just pray to Sadhguru that Sadhguru, I shouldn't think like that, and please forgive me. So my question is that in that case, do we really create bad karma, or what is the thought process behind that? So this is my question. And sorry, I was just trying to figure out how to put it in a proper way. So that is my question, Subhashi, for you.
Also, one statement I want to add here with Diptiji's question. Subhashji, she's really asked a really awesome question, because I think this happens with everyone, with every disciple, I would say, and at every stage, because we are fighting inside us many times, and so many things can happen. Like we are a different person in the morning, and sometimes we are a completely different person in the evening. And that happens with most of us. When we are meditating, we are a different person, but when we are living in the daily routine of life and interacting with so many subjects and situations, we change. So Diptiji has already portrayed it nicely. I just want to add a statement here that sometimes our intentions are not at all bad, or we are not we never want to hurt anyone, right? Even in our dreams, I would say, like sometimes we but it just so happens that we get anger, and but we still we our intentions are still clear, and we are not trying to take any actions. But I think it just happens that somehow, even in our thoughts or in our actions, at a very subtle level, we might do something which others may not perceive it the way we went through the entire thought process. So does that convert into any karma? Because the intentions are clear, but sometimes you have to be very straightforward. Sometimes you have to say things that you feel that there is something that is not right. And then but intentions are not to like hurt anyone. At the same time, we don't also want to hurt ourselves, but these things happen, right, every now and then, like I would say. So what do you think about that? And then does that affect our journey? And how do you take that in this path? How do we manage that from time to time?
Sure, Monica ji and Dipti ji. See, the way I see it or perceive it is, we are talking about suspicion, one of the component that, and if I'm understanding what you're asking, if I'm understanding it correctly, we are talking about suspicion. So every disciple, not every, most of the disciple have that suspicion. And there, as I understand, praying to the Sadguru to help you get devoid of the suspicion is the only way out. Because the moment you brought yourself that I don't believe he is the Guru, I don't think he's the right Guru, I think this, I think that. So in that moment itself, you have not lost you. That I part has to be lost, that whatever I'm thinking is also not in my control. Jahan hum hain, tahan guru nahi. Jahan hum hain, tahan guru nahi. Ab guru hai, hum nahi. Prem gali atisa kari. Tame do na samahi. So this process of love is very fine. It's super fine. And a slightest doubt takes us very far, takes us much away, because there can be only one in that sword case. There can be only one sword. So jahan hum hai, wherever I bring me in the discussion, who am I to doubt? Who am I to question? So that part has to be removed from ourselves. One of the questions that I understood from you is, does it amount to a karma? Our thoughts, our suspicions. So see, karma happens at every level. Man, buddhi, vichar. At every level, the karma happens. It could be at the level of the words, the speech, the thought. But we are talking about a Sadguru who, by whose blessings, all those karma can be burned. The outcome of those karmas are burnt once he sheds, he showers the deserving disciple his love. All of that is burnt in moments. So being suspicious is one of the biggest hurdle of meditation. And many people I have come across who have sometimes this question, am I on the right path? Is he the right Guru? Am I being deviated? There is something wrong, something is missing. And we all have our trajectory on that. There are people who have come on this path, stayed for 20 years, started having this question in their mind that, no, he cannot be the Guru. And that very moment, he loses the path, not forever, but to come back again and to start from the beginning. Once you have seen at the Akshar Mandal that Swarup of Sadguru, that witnessed that form, the empowered form of Sadguru, the real form, which is not visible to the naked eye. Even then, moving forward, people have this Aham Brahmasmi. So I'm bringing this example in the discussion that Aham, the man, the ego, in its minutest form, stays with us until the end. And it's not that easy to get rid of it. There have been so many sansmarans, so many memoirs of those disciples who have gone much far and again had the downfall. So this path is very sankirn. It's like a sewing inside a thread, sewing a thread inside a needle. So in this path, anything that you are carrying that is increasing your size and weight won't be going through that needle. So every time a suspicion comes, it comes to me too. How I fight it? First is with astikya bhav. Now, if you look at the day-to-day example, there are so many couples who have suspicions on their partners, which may not be even real. But since they suspect, they spend their entire life checking their cell phone for the text, whom did you call, whom did you talk to? I'm just talking about a mere worldly relationship which you have been legally bound to for your entire life. After checking it so many times, I have checked, I have spent 5 years with that man or woman, and he or she is perfect. He talks like me, he likes the food and everything. And within marriage, and 2 years have passed and they are suspecting each other. So even after so much of togetherness, 24 hours a day for 5 years, still the suspicion creeps in. And that suspicion either ends into a complete demise, the relationship breaks away, the kids have the worst quality of the life into foster home, or they look back, or if they have that utmost devotion towards the other partner, which I would say, I love you regardless, I love you unconditionally, that pulls the other partner together, suspicion burns, and despite all this turmoil, they once again come onto the path of so-called happily married life and they move forward. See, in Adhyatma, the example of a couple has come multiple times because that is the nearest Prakritic example for us to understand. Not the right one, but the nearest one. That even in that relationship where you are seeing each other 24 hours a day and the suspicion arises so quickly, only few of them are able to maintain it, or 50% of marriages end up in divorce. Same is our relationship with Sadhguru. We begin with astikya bhav, a unconditional trust, purn vishwas, utmost commitment, and then loving the Guru with your whole life, with your whole identity. You have heard certain couples, if the one couple is sick, the other also starts feeling like that. That is the kind of the love, again the nearest example in the physical realm of the love that you will have with your Sadguru. When such a love happens that is unconditional, then the moment the Guru is in pain and suffering, the disciple also starts feeling that suffering. So this suspicion that we are talking about, there comes again the role of seva, sadhan, satsang. Let's say you are having some suspicion, you are bringing it up in satsang, you are listening to the experiences of the people. That is another way to get rid of the suspicion. Whenever you have Guru Darshan on 12th of August during Bhumi Pujan, those disciples who will meet the Guru for the first time, and if they are deserving disciple, they will experience what presence of Sadguru means. What is the aura around him? What molecules emerge out of him? How someone feels and how vibrations emit in people just by his mere presence. So once someone has experienced that level of vibrations, which is very basic in terms of Vihangam Yoga, The suspicion burns away there and then. What am I talking about? What am I thinking about? If mere presence of someone who looks like a human being can make my body dance, and I'm not using the right English word, can make my body turn in a direction that everything of mine comes to a standstill for the moment, suspicion burns away there and then. And our guru loves all of us. Kindness, compassion, love is the quality of a guru. So as far as I know and understand, that just by having suspicion, we are not going to get devoid of his love and compassion. That is the reason it is also said that those who do not go through that path, or those who have not had Sar Shabd Updesh, who have not been initiated with the fifth stage for whatever reasons, the Guru never leaves disciples. In the second birth, rebirth, third birth, fourth birth, Guru will make him free from the bindings of birth and rebirth. So Guru has that quality. If it was not so, there are so many examples out of 300,000 disciples of Sadgurudev. He knows so many disciples by their name. And I have disciples, I don't have time to discuss those stories I would have, where they would meet Sadgurudev and they will be so afraid due to some reason to come towards his face, and Sadgurudev will call their name from a distance. Prasad Babu, idhar aiye. And it will be amazing. How could he remember my name? So this shows when we say Sadguru Sarva Drashta, he knows everyone. I understand as a man of science, all of this does not fit right, but it is a science of experience. It is a science of devotion. It is a science which is Guru Gamme. Only the Guru, the master, can take you in that path. Only the Guru can make you see, visualize, and feel what you should. But if he does not want it to happen, you will never see the real form of Sadguru. The suspicions that has come to your mind will throw you back into the worldly realm, never to be back Adhyatmic again. That is the power of Sadguru. So your suspicion, how far it will take you, will be determined again by your past karma and Sadguru's blessings. So as long as you are connected to sadhan, seva, and satsang, suspicions come and they go away. Suspicions come and they go away. And gradually, step by step, slowly, with baby steps, we keep moving forward. I know I went into multiple directions, but I hope I was able to answer you to some extent. Back to you, Dipti ji, Monica ji.
Thank you so much, Subhashi, for this beautiful explanation. But I would say you, of course, answered Monica ji's question and my question, and also gave a 360-degree angle view for this particular question. But of course, we are not being suspicious on Sadhguru. I think Monica ji and my question was mostly into whether when we fight with our sanskara, whether we create any karma or not, any bad karma or not. But thank you so much for giving the entire, 360-degree view for this particular question. Thanks a lot. And thank you so much for explaining dohas and answering all our audience's question. Thanks again, Subhashi.
Sure, and thank you for the opportunity. And once again, suspicion is in everyone's mind. It has just its different form and shape. One of the example would be, if Sadhguru asks you, give me all your money, you will get it when the right time comes. Will you? Will I? No. That in itself is an example of suspicion. That is what I meant by suspicion. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Subhashi. Yes, you are absolutely right, and we really appreciate for your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Subhashji. I also want to say thanks verbally. And as usual, your examples and your stories and everything helps us. Like Tiptiji said, our question was not about that, but overall, we've got answers in different ways. So I'm looking forward to the recording of this satsang. So, I can correlate my question to the right answer that I will have it for check. Thank you so much, Subhashji, and back to you, Diptiji.
Thank you, Monica ji. Now let's move forward to the next section. I would like to inform everyone about an event Navy is proud to announce. It is Warrior of the Week. We all know the best time to meditate is Brahma Muhurat between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. But most of us fail to do. To encourage this, Navy started this event where participants join the WhatsApp group called Brahma Muhurat Warrior. Each participant practice Brahma Muhurat meditation on their own. There is no session to join. Once you are done with the meditation, you can send the status to the group as done. If you are interested to join the group, please let us know and we can send you the link. So for this week, the Warrior of the Week given below, Bhagwati Patel ji, Surya Alam Raju ji, and Tejinder Sahidev ji. Congratulations to all of you. And inductees of the week are the ones who are able to meditate at least once in the past week. And they are Ranjani ji, Amit Talekar ji, Prachi Shirsagar ji, Maya ji, Lalmani ji, Shriram ji, Yogesh Shirsagar ji, Vinita ji, Sudhanshu Kumar ji, and my name is also there. Congratulations to all of you and thanks for encouraging us. We have now reached the last page of today's workshop. In this page, we chant the short version of Shanti Path. In the Shanti Path, we chant for peace for everyone who exists in this universe. May Sadguru Dev bless the entire cosmos with peace, love, and prosperity. I would now request Devji to recite the last few lines of Shanti Path for us.
He Prabhu Shanti Sarupa Ho, Shanti Shanti Mai Shanti, Shanti Shanti Jana Shanti Ho, Purna Shanti Mai Shanti. He Prabhu Shanti Pradana Kara, Duraho Sarva Ashanti, Deva Sadafala Shanti Maya, Shanti Shanti Sukha Shanti. Jasa Gurudev Bhagawan Ki Jai.
Thank you so much, Devji, for the beautiful recitation. Thanks a lot. I would like to thank all of you for joining us and also encourage everybody to ponder over the topic we discussed today. The Navy has been conducting the Sunday virtual satsangs and Vihangam Yoga initiation workshops all over the USA and North America over the last few years. Any queries relating to this can be sent as an email to info@vihangamyog.org. I would like to thank again Jessica ji, Subhash ji, Niranjan ji, Monica ji, and Dave ji for their valuable contribution in today's session. Also, there is one important announcement from Navy. So Navy is proud to announce that from August 11th to August 27th, Sadguru Swatantra Dev Ji Maharaj, Mataji, and Namdev Sarkar will be visiting US, and he will be visiting New Jersey first, and I don't know the thereafter schedule, but we have the foundation laying ceremony on August 12th, And the second part of the day, there is Amritvani of Swamiji. So whoever is interested, they can go to Bihangam Yoga, North America Institute of Bihangam Yoga website and register for August 12th event and foundation laying ceremony. So please go ahead and do that, and we look forward to seeing you. So see you all next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. EST on the same Zoom session. Have a wonderful day ahead, and Jai Sadgurudev.